Ryan looks away when their both eyes collided. Her grip on the glass tightened as she felt an ache in her heart, an eye stinging ready to build pool of tears. But she controlled. His gaze was sharp and was telling something. But Vine didn't pay any attention to this. The girl was lost to handle her own itching heart. How sad the girl can't even express her pain openly. It always comes out during darkness and silence in form of tears. Are you okay? Jimin asked as he noticed her discomfort. In nervousness, Vine looked here and there before giving a small nod. You sure? I mean, you didn't seem to enjoy the party. You need anything? The boy was genuinely concerned as, according to him, she is looking like a scared, lost child. No, I don't need anything. Actually, I'm not a party person. Wine answered honestly yet hesitantly, as Jimin is still a stranger for her. Meanwhile, he chuckled at her answer. He was impressed and surprised too, as today's girl loves to do party and here she's totally different from others. Impressive, or should he say innocent? Wine looked down in shame as she thought he's making fun of her. Oh, I'm sorry, but you are too honest. But yeah, I wanna say there is no need to feel embarrassed about it because you are you and in your own very unique. Jimin explained like he knows what she is thinking. Wine didn't answer and continued to look down as she finds the ground more impressive than anything. To ease the awkwardness, Jimin lightly cleared his throat and forwarded his right hand towards her, which she stared in confusion. Jimin internally chuckled at her cute face. Right now, she is looking so adorable. The girl is in epitome of innocence. Would you like to have a dance with me? Don't get me wrong. I just want to make you comfortable, which you are definitely not. But to his question, Vine shook her head before saying, thank you, but I don't know how to dance. Her voice was low, but enough for Jimin to hear. He still can't believe this type of girl actually exists in this world. How can someone be so naive? He wonders how come girl like her got married to Jungkook. They are literally opposite in everything. Jungkook is cold as ice, and here is she so warm and sensitive. These both prove opposite attracts, but do they really attract? Jimin was aware of her nervousness towards him. Well, how not? It's their first meeting, and no one would be comfortable to a stranger. Definitely not when the person is so innocent like her. He flashed a warm smile to her, and Vine obviously catches some detail about it. How his eyes disappeared when he smiled at her. You don't have to think about this, just hold me and find your perfection. Practically, Jungkook was dancing with Leah. His all focus should be on dance and on the girl with whom he is dancing, but his whole attention was on the two person standing a little far from dance floor. This seems to interacting so well. While here he is mentally disturbed, instead of doing a conversation with his dance partner, his eyes were gawked on those two, and if Leah tried to initiate, he would just give small replies or nods, his head not having any idea what actually they are talking about. And it seriously pissed Leah. She knows he have a wife, but at least for a minute he could focus on her. It's not like she's going to snatch him from her. Only if she knew. Jungkook didn't even care what will she thought. He wants to move his gaze from them but couldn't. It's like his eyes were glued on them and he's not interested to see anything else. Jungkook saw how Jimin laughed and was gazing fondly at Vian. Though Jungkook looked calm, in reality he was churned up inside. The small smile she flashed created a weird feeling in his heart. After seeing the next scene, He just wants to run towards them and pull Vine away from him. When he saw Jimin forwarding his hand to Vine, is asking her for a dance. How dare he? But what made him look at Vine in disbelief when she put her hand on Jimin's? Did she just accepted his request? How could she? The boy feel anger build inside him. However, more than anything, why he's feeling bad, why the anger is turning into sadness and disappointment. Is it because instead of Leah, he could have chosen Ryan? He simply could have denied Leah's request and had asked Ryan to join him, but then his mind reminds him he never considered his wife's opinions. How shameful, right? All he did was blame her, giving cold shoulder, rude replies, considering her the reason for ruining his life. Disrespecting her efforts, memories keep floating back, reminding him how cruel he behaved towards his own wife, who never asked him anything. Isn't it funny that he never gave her a reason to be happy? What these things tell him is Jungkook was never a good husband for his wife. He never was a perfect husband. This makes him feel nothing but nauseous and shameful on his own deeds. How heartless he behaved. What was her fault? A lump formed in his throat, witnessing the two weaving their way from the crowd to dance floor. The sight in front of him was paining him. His eyes were too busy roaming on them that he didn't notice when his hand slipped from Leah's hand and legs starts to move on their own towards exit. Mind ignoring the girl who is calling him. Right now, the boy wants to be alone. Get rid of the suffocation. The cold breeze caressed his face, leading him to close his eyes. His shaking hands formed fist. When the scene of minute ago flashed in his mind. How close they were, how her eyes were shining, the way he was holding her, how perfectly her hands were fitting in his. The way she was looking so comfortable yet relaxed. Every single scene is stinging his eyes. Why he is not the reason behind her comfort and smile? Why he is not in that place? Simple, he never gave importance to his relationship. Jungkook was so busy living in his past that he never gave a thought to his present. Oh, how badly he is regretting now. But does it matter now? He looks down to his hand and wonders how her hands will look in his. Will they fit perfectly? Shaking his head to get rid of everything his mind is playing. He looks up at the sky and unknowingly a shaky breath left from his mouth. Jimin and Vian returned back to their previous place after dancing. It was her first time dancing like this, and she surely enjoyed all because of Jimin. He was so friendly that Vian didn't felt uncomfortable. In between, he kept complimenting her, appreciating her efforts, which made her all nervousness flee away. And seriously, she's so thankful for his kind behavior and literally was touched because of his patient personality. However, the girl was more surprised that in the period of his 10 minutes, he talks to her like a friend and Wine couldn't help but join him. They seriously become friends in just few minutes. Maybe it's all because of Jimin's unique, tender personality and charming smile. She was about to express her gratitude for his support when somebody called Jimin. He excused and went away after flashing a warm smile while waving his hand. And once again, Vine starts to feel all nervous. As she is alone now, her eyes roamed around to find Jungkook, whom she didn't notice from so long. Even Leah is not here. Where did they both went? Vine didn't find Jungkook, but her eyes catch someone familiar. Gulping down her nervousness, she approached the person. Thankfully, the person noticed her presence before she could approach him, which made her sigh in relief, as the girl was so awkward to initiate the talk first. A true introvert. Mrs. Joan, do you need anything? The old man asks with a welcoming smile. No, Mr. Min, thank you. I just wanna ask, do you know where Jungkook is? Surprisingly, Wine didn't stutter much. Mr. June? Oh yeah, he went outside few minutes ago. I think something happened. Mr. June was looking in hurry. He left in middle of the dance. Wine frowned hearing Mr. Min. What must had happened that Jungkook didn't even completed the dance? Is he alright? She internally was worried for him. Muttering a thanks to Mr. Min, she turned towards exit to look where he actually went. There are not many people outside except few. Some of them were on call and others maybe for cheer, but they're not her concern. She's here to look for Jungkook. Roaming her eyes around the garden, Vine finally spotted a figure sitting on bench. Without having a second thought, she walked near him and silently sat beside, maintaining a proper distance, as she had no idea what to say. Why look up at the sky, which was glowing with bright city lights, a pale crescent moon shining bright in between it, and stars behind it? Stretched to infinity, the night view was truly admirable. It was tremendously beautiful, unlike her life. What are you doing here? The question broke her admiration. She looked beside and saw him staring the sky. His skin was glowing under the moonlight, which made her admire him now completely, forgetting about night view. This is how you behave when you are in love. When you saw the person, you lost everyone. Everything, including yourself. That's the main concern. Don't lose yourself during loving someone. Didn't saw you inside? Mr. Min saw you coming here, so just come to check. It's the first time Wine talked without stuttering. They were too lost in understanding their hurts that no one noticed. You noticed? I thought you won't. Wine chuckled at his words while her gaze went down to his hands, busy spinning the mobile. I always pay attention to you, Jungkook. It's just you who never cared to notice it. Jungkook stopped spinning the mobile. He was numb for a few seconds before he turned his head to left side to look at the girl beside himself who was not even looking at him. The words were a hard slap on his face to once again remind him. Reality, a bitter reality. It tells him how ignorant he was, how cruel he was. And yes, she did. The girl paid attention to him, his every minor thing. Even he himself accepted, still never appreciated. In fact, in return, what he did, ignored everything like a heartless man. He crushed her every hope, broke her waiting heart. How he can be so cruel towards the girl who never demanded nothing except respect and care in return? Was it that difficult to do? Jungkook loved someone and destiny didn't paired up him with her. His heart belonged to her. He dreamed to have her as his better half, to spend his whole with the girl who owned his heart. She was the one on whom he wanted to shower his all love, show his all emotions, wanted to only care about her. But unfortunately, life didn't wanted it. That's why instead of his lover, he had to marry someone he never met before, for whom there was no feelings in his heart. He was drowned in grief. He can't just love someone when he was being separated from his lover. It's normal for a person to not love someone in a short period. But that doesn't mean he is allowed to behave cold and rude towards her. If he can't love her, then at least he could have respected her. It's not like Vine was forcing him to love her. She just wanted care and respect in return, in which he badly failed. Jungkook failed this time. How pathetic. He didn't say anything in return because when your heart hurts, it makes you quiet. And what did he even say? No word can justify his actions towards her. Nothing can rationalize The hurtful words he said to her, but he can't just sit quietly and do nothing. At least he can make efforts because the man is truly sorry. After what she said to Jungkook, he didn't say a single word. They both just sat there under the calm and quiet atmosphere of night. Moonlight shining from the room falling on them, and cool air providing comfort to their aching hearts. But nothing can heal a wound of a broken heart. Only pieces of another heart can mend a broken heart. It would had appear a romantic night where two people sitting beside each other, enjoying the comfortable silence, admiring the beautiful night view, only if the situation was different. But that's not in their case. Jungkook and Vine are two opposite poles who got put together without their will. One who was already had a broken heart and another caught her after being tied up in this marriage. They both are opposites, but things you could find between them similar is a broken heart. Craving for love, not from each other, but from different persons, which none of them received. They just sat there with silence around them. No words exchanged. There was a lot in their hearts to express and say, but not have enough courage. One was caught up in guilt, while other was battling with her inner self. Thinking, do she even have any right to initiate a conversation and tell him the pain of unrequited love? The absolute torture of watching someone you love deeply hating you? No, she don't have. In fact, never had any, especially on him. As the party was over, Jungkook and Vine, including other three cousins, returned back to hotel. When Vine united with Bora and Zad at the end of party, they apologized to Vine for leaving her alone. She forgave them easily with sweet smile as she actually enjoyed in party thanks to Jimin. However, the girl was a little bit upset for not getting the chance to say thanks to Jimin for his humbleness. If she will get a chance in future, she will surely do because the boy was nothing but kind and patient with her. They all parted their ways muttering good night, as they all were already tired after the party, some were physically and some mentally. Jungkook opened the door and entered inside, followed by Vine. Without saying a single word, Jungkook went inside washroom. Vine sighed, staring at his disappearing figure with sad eyes. The beautiful life she always had desired to have is now a big mess, with no hope of changing it. Can't she leave him and move on? But then she have no one in this world except Joan family, on whose support she taken a decision. Sometimes Vine wanted to give up on everything and just run away somewhere. Far, but then again where life is not a fairy tale where you run away and someone magically appeared on your life and support you selflessly. Word is cruel, more cruel than anyone could imagine, and this doesn't work without any greed. There is always a motive behind someone doing something for you. And for a person like Vine who have a fragile heart, can't take a big decision like leaving him, even it costs living with Jungkook with no hope and love. She knows she's being pathetic, running behind a man who didn't even care about her and her feelings. Now it's fine for her because now she's not hoping from Jungkook to love her back. With a tired sigh, Vine took out nightwear from cupboard and sat on bed waiting for Jungkook to come out. After a few minutes, Jungkook came out and Vine went inside to change. Jungkook lay down on bed with closed eyes. He had work to do, but there is no energy in him to do anything. Neither he is interested. He kept tossing around as earlier incidents are flashing in his eyes, making him feel uneasy. I always pay attention to you, Jungkook. It's just you who never cared to notice it. Her words were disturbing him. Maybe he didn't show it there and kept sitting there with his usual emotionless blank face. And now, when he's alone and can't lie to himself more, he will be honest, it did affected him. Her every word pierced his heart. How long he will ignore? He don't want to admit, but it's the truth that her words impacted his heart badly. However, his ego and rude personality won't let him accept it. Jungkook can't accept the fact that someone literally can impact him only with words that choose so badly. Never in his whole life he felt this much vulnerable because of someone. But then a question appears: how can she make him so sensitive? Why she hold the power to control him? Jungkook jerked open his eyes due to the sudden soft touch on his forehead. He saw Wine standing in front of him with worried eyes and hand on his forehead. Soon the worried look hid behind nervousness, causing an ache in his heart. Why there is so much distance between us? You never try to fill these gaps. A voice inside him answers. Wine swiftly moved back her hand. Are you okay? You were looking disturbed. She asked, but there was no answer from him. Instead, he was gazing at her, which made her nervous. As a result, she took her head down. Wine heard him let out a big sigh. It worried her. Is he okay? Nothing, just headache. He answered in a tired voice. Did you catch cold? Do you want me to get you some painkillers? Wine asked in pure concern. Jungkook shook his head in denial immediately. He don't want to worry her more. No need, I will be fine after some time. It's just a normal headache, nothing serious. Despite of being not fully convinced, Wine nodded her head and about to turn around to go, but was stopped by a grip on her wrist. Wine froze for a second, then glanced back, confusingly at him. Her gaze was questioning. Jungkook noticed it and cleared his throat before speaking. Can you please pat my head until I fall asleep? I don't think I will be able to sleep with this headache. It would help me if you do that. But if you don't want to, then no problem. I was just teasing. Jungkook immediately added as he doesn't want to make her feel like he's kind of forcing her. He needs her consent too. Things are not normal between them. In fact, complicated. I guess good night. He muttered slowly, releasing her hand before turning to the other side and closed his eyes with a heavy hurt. Guess he doesn't want to see her denying. Why would she even listen to him after he did with her? A small smile appeared on his face as a hand gently brushed his hairs back. However, his heart sank in guilt. After all those things, she still cared about him and fulfilling her duties. And what is he doing? Maybe before he was not doing anything, but now he will. With a determination in heart and a small smile on lips, he went into a deep slumber. Meanwhile, Vine was looking at him with a warm smile. She couldn't deny love makes you weak. As long as she is concerned, Jungkook don't like to be touched by anyone, including her. He is someone who literally hates people who try to get close to him without his consent. And when today he himself told her to kiss his head, she couldn't help but feel special. Is she? With falling of bright golden rays of rising sun, the alarm clock, which was placed on bedside table, started ringing loudly. The girl sleeping on bed in half-laying position with head pressed against headboard stirred in sleep due to ringing tone of her alarm clock. Wine rubbed her half-open eyes to drive away her sleep before finally opening them. She tiredly looked to her left, and her first view of fresh morning was him. The droopy eyes of her were now admiring his calm, innocent face. This is the only time where she could admire him without any fear, without any hesitation, and mostly he can't see her while doing this. Suddenly he groaned, alerting her. Wine realized the alarm is still ringing. She was too lost in noticing his beautiful features that she forgot to off the alarm. Immediately, her hand starts to comb his soft locks in order to calm him, while from other hand she turned off the alarm. Once Wine was sure he drifted back to sleep, she carefully get up from bed and headed towards washroom. As the door closes, Jungkook slowly opened his eyes. Soon, a warm smile appeared on his face as he continues to stare the way Wine went before closing them, and again drifted off, feeling the soothing touch of her fingers in his hairs. Wine slightly cleared her throat to catch Jungkook's attention, which she successfully got when his fingers stopped dancing on keys and he lifted his head up to look at her. Yes, Wine slightly shifts on her position nervously. Can I use your phone? I have to call Oma. Her eyes were roaming all around except him. Why? I mean, where is yours? And were not you talking to Oma a few minutes before? I'm not complaining though. Jungkook asks as his eyes were noticing her every action. Why is she so nervous? Is it seriously too hard to talk with him? Mine got discharged while talking to her. She must be worried, so Jungkook nods his head in acknowledgement and grabbed his phone, which was placed beside him on bed. Just when he was about to hand her phone, it started ringing. Jungkook rolled his eyes and said, "She already is calling. This never happened with me. Sometimes I wonder, is she really my mom? She seriously loves you more than me," Jungkook complained, Intini with a small adoring pout on his lips. He didn't even notice what he just did. Wine was shocked witnessing his new sight. Her eyes fall on his pout and her mind questioned, is he is the same person whose face is always masked with coldness? Unknowingly, a small giggle left from her mouth and she let out some unexpected words. "You're so cute." Next second, the adorable pout disappeared and his gaze fixed on her, more likely admiring her smile. It's the first time he saw her smiling, and God, it's so beautiful. Unknowingly, the corners of his lips lifted up. Something is wrong with his heart. While Wine, who proceeds what she just blurted out immediately, pressed her lips into a thin line and mentally winces. Jungkook continued to stare at her, which got disturbed by the phone ringing again. Great timing, Mom. He mentally groaned before passing the ringing mobile to Wine. She is seriously worried, Jungkook says with a slight eye roll. Wine wanted to laugh but control herself. She took the phone before going towards the small balcony of their room, while Jungkook heaved out a loud sigh and shook his head. There is definitely something wrong with me. Hyung, stop working. Zad says to Jungkook, more like was winning to get this workaholic man's attention. Zad, stop disturbing me. I have so many things to do. If you have something to say, just spill fast and get out. Jungkook's voice was laced with irritation while saying this. He didn't even lifted his head to look at the younger. His eyes were digging on the laptop screen. You are so rude, Hyung. I seriously feel pity for Wine Nuna. How does she even manage your behavior, poor Nuna? If I was in her place, then I would have left you long ago. Zad blabbered playfully without noticing how his last sentence impacted the boy sitting on bed. Jungkook's hand stopped working. His eyes were still fixed on screen, but blankly. He was practically staring at nothing. The thought of Wine leaving him clenched his heart painfully and throat tightened up. He aggressively shook his head to get rid of this type of nonsense. However, he knows Zad was just joking, then why he imagined out about Wine? This won't happen. Wine will never leave him, right? Hyung, Zad, who noticed his frozen state, called out him loudly while shaking his body in concern. Jungkook come out from his thoughts by the aggressive shook and looked at Zad mindlessly. What? Where were you lost, Hyung? For a second, I thought you got a heart attack. Zad said with beating heart as his hand clutched his heart. Jungkook didn't respond. He was in daze. Even the mere thought of wine leaving him is scaring him now. He covered his face with both of his palms and groaned slowly. This got Zad concerned. He lightly placed his hand on Jungkook's shoulder as he slightly bent down. Hyung, are you okay? Should I call Wine Nuna? You're not looking good. The boy was purely concerned. He was about to turn to go call Wine, who is with Bora in her room right now, but was stopped by Jungkook. No need, Zad. I'm fine. Jungkook says with a small smile as he doesn't want Zad to tell Wine. For once, he doesn't want to bother Wine. She must be enjoying with Bora, and he have no intention to ruin it. She deserves happiness, which he never gave her, and when she is having some moments, he can't snatch it, nor he have any such intention. You sure, Hyung? Now get out, you already disturbed me. Zad stared at him with fake hurt expression. You know, Hyung, you doesn't belong here. Your home is Antarctica. You both literally suit each other. Cold with cold, perfect match. Zad laughed dreamily, which soon died as Jungkook passed him icy cold glares. He gulped and let out a nervous toothy grin. Oh Hyung, we are leaving next morning, right? I have to do packing. Bye. Zad runs down after saying. Meanwhile, Jungkook again glued his eyes back on laptop and murmured under his breath. Perfect match. Antarctica is not my wife. I have Vian. But why she didn't come back? It's been so long. What even they both are doing? His mind questioned. It's not even past an hour, and here he already is looking for her presence. Is he missing her?